Oh,
7.
I mean, 7 or so, yes.
Yeah. We just haven't climbed up there yet.
All right, welcome everybody. We'll start off. We've got a fair amount to talk about tonight, and we will need to have an executive session. So for what I'm thinking is, if we get through our other business, we can hold that for the end, and then we can go into executive session and finish things up there. All right, so can I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Marianne and Lee. All right, so first order, I'm all in favor? Okay, next up, the minutes, the October meeting minutes. A motion to approve the minutes. Okay, Marianne made the motion. Is there a second? All right, Lee seconded. Everybody had a chance to review. You can take a moment to do so and see if there's any questions or corrections. Thanks. Any corrections, comments? All right, all in favor? All right, great. Move right into the director's report.
So we've got a bunch of upcoming programs happening. Actually, we had chair yoga today. There were 3 people who came in. And we had Lego Club, which no one came for, and we had Dungeons and Dragons, which also no one came for. So very productive day. Well, Dungeons and Dragons is about a bunch of teenagers who don't know how to get themselves here in an appropriate, like they just are not organized. So they're working on that part. Yeah. Yeah. And then the Lego Club, haven't had a lot of kids coming to Lego Club lately. So kind of got to figure out a good way to get some more people around for that.
Do you think is it like a age thing at this point? Is it like
I think it's a time thing. I think it always goes down around this time of year. So it's just everyone's busy with after school stuff. And so yeah. I think it will probably pick up sometime around like in January is my guess. I totally took those away, guys. So we have tea night tomorrow, the holiday market coming up, chair yoga, another Lego Club, tech help. We are doing picture day with Santa again. I am not going to be able to be here. I have to go out of town for a family thing. And so that day, I'm going to see if I can find someone to cover for me to help out with it. It runs pretty smoothly, but Jared and Bethany are both donating their time again to do it like they did last year. They love doing it. So we'll do picture day with Santa. We are going to do the homeschool series is having a holiday party. We're going to try again for D&D. We'll see if that happens. We are doing the gingerbread houses again. We're going to try again for Lego Club to see if it happens. We are going to do teen night. And then I have 2 other things that I just put on my calendar. We're going to do, 3 other things. Ornament making on the 12th, pajama story time on the 22nd. And then I thought we would give the 29th and see if anyone wanted to try and do a game night. How that goes. because that's during Christmas break. So I figured maybe see if we can't get some people here.
What are the dates for those?
Ornament making is going to be on the 12th, PJ Storytime on the 22nd, and game night on the 29th. And then we are closed on the 24th and the 25th, and then on the 31st and the 1st. So, yeah, good chunk of time. And
on the 31st and 1st.
we're closed on the 31st and the 1st.
Call somebody who was talking about chair yoga, and she had gone to one, but forgets to go. And I did make a little plea. I was like, if we really want attendees, because it is one of the more expensive programs for us.
Right.
So having attendees makes it worthwhile. So if you could put it on your calendar, that would be great.
Oh, that's
That
good.
would be-
Helps. I mean, I had people saying, "Oh, can you please do it more than once?" And then, we have our regular, I guess, 3 or 4 people who come every time. But there's other people who say, "Oh, I would love to come more," but I get busy.
Need help with fixing it at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Right there, 'cause,
Well, we don't want to be doing that because Santa scares them enough usually. So
love that.
I have to see because it's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I have to see if I'll probably see if a staff member can help too, so they can help close up the library. And because I'm not sure if Sadie will be able to be here for that or not. Thank you.
No problem.
So, you can see all of the statistics for all of the different programs we've had. We did have a great attendance at the Halloween party. The numbers that you see there are the numbers of the people who came to inside the actual building to the party itself. And then 200 is what I think we had at the entire event, because there were a lot of people who did not come to the actual party. They came just for the trick-or-treating. They're getting wise to us now. They now know. Well, we're trying to get it so that they come to the party first and, at least attend that, but there's only so much you can do. So, the veterans did meet here on the 5th, and they said everything went great, and they were very appreciative of the space again and the pizza. I don't remember what else we got for them. I think we got donuts. Every time whenever we get like a vegetable platter to go along with it, it doesn't get touched. Nothing. I did it 2 years in a row.
That's Scott, David. You can resist saying. You want an apple, Scott?
No, I actually went to M&M's this time. The teams get dumped to get the companies and stuff. We are doing good with story time still. We still are having great numbers for that, so that's always been good. And the kids have finally gotten used to being in the kids' room again, because Rebecca said that last time, so not this past Wednesday, but the Wednesday before, they still were kind of congregating in here, and she was like, "You can go play in the new room," and they were kind of like just a little iffy about it. But this week they were 100% happy and playing and enjoying the heck out of that room. So it's been great. And so thank you also to everyone who came to the opening for that, because that was a lot. Okay, and then circulation. It's actually for books and children's books and adult books. We went up this time of year, so that's good, but it's about the same. Circulation of physical items, again, the same as it usually is. We're up a little bit in numbers for October for visits to the library. We'll definitely go up in November because of everything that happened with the affirmations and the votes. We did get we had 11 new patrons sign up for register or for cards this month, and we had 7 new kiddos. So pretty good numbers for that. My numbers for collection are not as wonderful as they should be because I'm having a very big issue with Ingram and them not sending us the orders that I have sent in. They sent me an order. It got lost somewhere by UPS and turned around and then sent back to Ingram. And then they never told me that it got sent back to them. So I had only found out when I got the tracking information, was able to see that it got sent back. We don't know how this happened. And it's been a month since I reordered all of those things and they still haven't gotten back to me. So they finally have started. I got an email from them today saying that they are shipping it tomorrow. But it was a big problem because, and it's why the shelves are a little bit more bare than they normally are. I did look into going to Amazon after many conversations with these people saying, this isn't fun. And if we go to Amazon, it's going to cost us more money. So I'm trying to make it work with Ingram and see if I can't make that happen. But I also don't want to do any more with Amazon than we have to because at this point, but they only give a 30% discount off of books, whereas Ingram gives you a good 40 to sometimes 50% off. So keep it going for a little bit longer. I did attend the November DA meeting. In March of next year, there's going to be a new law that is going up for approval for minimum standards for libraries in New York State. If they adopt it, which they are planning on doing, I don't think that it's come across anything that's been said, controversial. We're going to have to look at our policies and have those updated by the end of 2026. So when I do the report in 27, we'll have questions about whether or not these things are all set and ready to go. So I just wanted to put it out there so that we can look at it, and then, that can be a project for next year. But yeah, we have the selection of library materials, we have public uses of space, we have a code of conduct, and we have a confidentiality of library records. I'm not sure how up to date that one is. I'm not sure about the other one's policy. I know we do not have a disaster preparedness plan or policy of any kind. So we definitely have to work on that one. And then I'm not sure about the financial control policies. So just. Mhm. Perfect. Okay, great. So that'll be a huge help. Okay.
I don't think
You're just thinking, are you going to do this? Oh, that's great.
However, in odd timing, I received an email today, the trustee email, asking about have we had any results from the Troy Savings Bank. Said, hey, have you had to use your OED yet? Thank goodness. But then they said you're going to be receiving information from the Red Cross about a free program that your agency can participate in to strengthen your preparedness in the event of a natural disaster. I would encourage you to consider participating. So it may be something we want to consider,
Okay.
Especially as it ties into this. And we really are probably very poorly prepared for an emergency. And just seeing that Berkshire Community College just had lost their whole collection. Not that was a natural disaster per se, but mold and infestation. I didn't read the whole story.
Oh, I didn't read it. Oh my gosh. Wow, that's terrible. Oh, I wish I had known because I've got two people so this week asked if we can donate.
Well,
do they want them or?
No, they
Okay. Okay.
cleaned them and they were up.
Right.
It's like pre-book sale. We let them in early and said, go for And, then the Friends, the board paid for that, paid the book sale for it. So it was like, and you couldn't just say like, here's a box of donated history books. No.
They would take in what they want. Okay.
Yeah, so it was, as much as, to send those people over to Pittsfield because.
All right.
That's the last house on the block right now. Only people really take them.
Yeah.
That I'm aware of.
Yeah. Someone yesterday was asking. Okay.
And if they want to drop them here, you let me know. I'll take them over. I'll be happy to do that.
Thanks. Okay.
I mean,
I'll remember that then as well.
garbage bags full of books are going to have the same.
That's the problem. What? Oh, I know. That's why we don't take them anymore because there's too many of those that come to us. Yeah. Did they say what the preparedness program is?
No,
It's not the New York State one.
No, it's a Red Cross program. And it says they give you a bunch of materials to help you be ready for protecting your assets and safeguards, etc. I'll forward it to you. It looks like there's some staff training stuff they provide you, business continuity, things like that.
Okay.
So,
All escrow, which is library continuity, I mean, I'm familiar with plans, but this is way different.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And I'll ask Chris.
I would guess. Actually, I'm gonna I'll be talking to him tomorrow about some stuff. So
Probably might be interesting in it.
okay. The new online interface that I was telling everybody about will be active on January 1st. So now we actually have a date. So I'll now start, going through and doing some more campaigning or some patron education about that happening this month. I did attend an ILA conference, which was very interesting. That happened Thursday and Friday, so that was a little bit of a challenge in terms of everything we were dealing with, but it actually ended up working out fine. So, and then construction. Thank you everybody for coming and being supportive of the children's room. We do have a threshold that needs to still be installed, and there's still some places with paint that need to be patched up. MR2 is supposed to be getting back here to do all of that. I don't know when, but I sent them an email today to see when that's happening. Just so everyone knows, we did send them a check for, it was about $17,000 that they never received back in October. So we've canceled that check and are going to issue a new one for tomorrow so that they can get paid. And then they have one more bill to send to us, and then that part of it will be done.
Do we ever hold back for the punch list in the contract?
I'm sorry.
Are we holding money back from the punch list items?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to pay them that last one until. Yeah.
Yeah. With contractors before.
We do have some money left in the DLD grant budget. So Megan over at the architect's office is pretty sure that we will be able to use that money to put in a new roof or replace the roof. I have a call in with Chris. We were supposed to talk this afternoon, but things got away from each of us. So I'm planning on talking to him tomorrow to make sure that yes, in fact, we can use DLD money for a roof. Because if we can, I think it will only come to about $2,000 out of our pockets to pay for putting that roof on. Wouldn't it be great? So that's that's what I'm working on next. But we have another 2 years to go until about 2000. Yeah. So we have another 2 years to make that happen. But the roof is really bad, and it's going to need to be done as soon as possible. So I think we probably have to look at it for next spring or summer.
If it ends up that we can't use it for the roof and we have this leftover money, are there other ideas for what we could still do?
I'm working on that.
Okay.
But we have, yes, we really want to use that money for something. So,
And I know they just don't usually want money back.
Right.
Yeah, you see.
so so if anyone has any ideas of things that they might like to see happen to the library that we can use $14,000 for, let me know. Actually, it'd probably be closer to 12. Most of the stuff. So the one thing I did have in here that I have in your packet is the proposal for the roof to be replaced. It would cost us $14,080 according to MR2. So what we were going to do is, if everyone's okay with it, I was going to then talk with Chris and then Megan and try and see if we can't change the scope of the grant based on this. So kind of wanted to get everyone's okay before I went and made any more work for architects and all that other stuff. So so far, yeah, I wanted to get at least one bid and then so that we can see where whether or not we can even do it. So
And so if this work gets done, there'll be no more metal roof. Is that true?
right,
Okay.
it'll all be asphalt.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this one was put on in 08 or 07. So we've got another 12 years from now.
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't.
I just.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. No.
Was it-
Well, if only that one tiny spot, like
That's
if
why I
it's
was
all
wondering
very
about-
expensive.
the 55.
Yeah.
It's an architectural tunnel. I don't say it.
So is it okay for me to go and try and pursue this, figure this out?
Basically, is it an agreement?
I will work on that.
Okay.
Mhm.
You use price without knowing how much fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very simple. Yes.
No.
I know. I have been going to the Berlin Elementary School now I've done 2 months of reading to the kids for the first Monday of the month. And then I now have 7 classes that are kind of going to become my classes that I will read to them the first Monday of every month until the school year ends. And it went really great. They're really sweet kids. And it was just, my voice by the time I was done was like, oh my gosh, but I read the same book over and over again. So now I know I have to really find one I like so that I can keep reading it over and over again. Yeah, exactly. It was actually called Library Lion, and it is about a library that a lion just wanders into, and he roars in the library and he gets in trouble and he can't be in there, and then he promises not to roar and be loud, and then he has to roar because he needed to get the people's attention because the library director, she fell and broke her arm and couldn't move, so the lion had to go and yell, and then he realized that he did wrong, and then it was like, okay, well, sometimes it's okay to break the rules. And it was really sweet because the kids were just, I didn't expect it because it's a longer book and I didn't know how it was going to go, and the empathy that came out of those faces when they saw the feet of the librarian on the ground, like, what happened? Oh, she fell, she's hurt, and these little guys are just like, oh no. It was really sweet. So it was a great day. I was so very happy with it. So, and I now am also doing we're doing they do an after school enrichment, so the library is coming in and doing a story time with them as well. So that's a 4-week program, and so I only have 1 more week left to do. But now the kids are like, hey, you're the library lady, I want to come to your library. So we're making some inroads. Hopefully we'll see them coming to us. I don't know, we'll we'll try. But it was really kind of, it's been nice. So it's been a really good day, but good time to do that. Let's see, working on, you guys know about that. I just talked about that. I did attend the town board meeting on the 17th. And the other stuff is all 414 stuff. So I'm sure we'll stuff. So that's pretty much it. Oh, it's all right.
Website and your personal time and your mother with your son and everything else.
It's okay. I did have a kid at home at that point, didn't I?
Although maybe not, because then I heard about how he got lost and he got on bus or whatever, so maybe
Yes.
he wasn't home at that point.
He was supposed to take the bus to Albany. He got on the bus to go to New York. So he ended up in Manhattan and then had to take the train home from Ren. So
For an hour on the bus, you noticed that maybe we're not going to Albany?
no. He's going to Berlin on Sunday. Saturday.
16 months.
I'm going down and driving about JFK. Hopefully won't get on. I think Braylon learns once and then doesn't have to make those same mistakes.
You gotta know.
What's that?
Right, yeah, he's like, oh,
Yeah,
that's
Europe. Yeah, not in Europe. I just have to rely on the friend to go and pick him up from the airport, and we'll see how that goes. But, yeah, so it's all good. It's all good. Okay.
All right, so moving on to treasurer's report.
Okay, I do have one P&L, which is the rather long document. There is no entry for the $125,000 grant, so it looks like we're way in the hole.
So that is because we put that in as deferred income. So it does not show up on the P&L until we transfer that money into the P&L. And I was told by the accountant that we should just do it as one chunk. It's one lump sum at the end of the year, so that we'll just move all of that once we're done. That way it's a lot easier. We have to do a journal entry. Tell me how to do it. Yep. No.
One of the things that I noticed during today was that the only thing on the income that's coming up, that we're a little forward is on the annual appeal, which is the end of the year thing. So we can hope that we get close to that $15,000. We're at like about 4,300 right now. Other than that, everything else is very much in line. And income, little light, but considering we were not able to do the trivia contest, understandable. The budget was based on a second trivia contest and did not happen. That's okay. Other than that, I think with a lot of what we saw in the community support with the voting issue, I feel pretty confident the annual appeal will come close to that number. That's just just my thought. As far as the balances, money has been going across to spend on the children's room, which is exactly as it was supposed to. We're getting very close to right about in our regular market savings where we were before, right about $50,000. The special project savings, we have money there to add to the roof, the cost of the roof without a problem. I mean, that's what that money's for. So that's there. And the only other thing that we have to probably beef up is the scholarship account for the end of the year, because that's at 1,400 and needs to be about 3. Is that right?
Two.
2.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's just that we haven't put money, I mean.
I
that money came
understand. I
back
understand.
after, yeah.
I mean, but we do still have 66 in the checking. I know some of that is earmarked for the children's room. Some of the checks come out there, so that's no problem. So I think all things considered, if the annual appeal comes up to snuff, I think we're gonna actually, balance it out.
If we are not, like, having separate accounts, makes it easy to see things, which is beneficial. But with this year, with the decision to move money around in order to make the most of good interest rates and everything, but I'm wondering if it makes sense to continue keeping that scholarship account where it looks weird, like we got 1,400, and we're gonna put money in, then we're gonna take the 2,000 out, and then we're gonna, like, is that serving a purpose anymore, or should we simply be handling that, in the books with, here's what we know is scholarship, the money reserved for the scholarship account, and then, I'm not sure I'm asking the question.
Well, I mean, you can say, for example, say a special time savings account, that's pretty good chunk of change. If you put that into the money market, you'd be getting close to 2.5% or whatever it is.
Right.
So you would be earning interest on it. So there's no problem doing an overall savings account and earmark it. You specifically like, okay, fine, in that account, this is how much, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
And therefore you would get the most benefit from the money market. And I think that's not at all a bad idea. I do not know how it would relate to QuickBooks, or I don't think it would cause any problems. And it certainly I wouldn't have any problem with Broadview.
So my only thought is that this scholarship fund was set up a long time ago and was meant to be completely separate from everything else that we were doing.
Well,
So I think it might be time to talk about what is the scholarship fund, and because we're at the end of it. We're not at the same, like, we haven't been funding it. This is the end of.
No, I mean, this isn't the end, we pulled money out of it.
No, we do pull money out to put in there. We transferred money. We get it.
We have to go look at the numbers again, but we had whatever in there, we pulled out.
Yeah,
money,
we pulled
put it into the money.
out.
Oh, to put it into the, was it put it in the money market
Right.
and then to put it back?
Yeah.
Oh, we never put it back in.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so
I don't mind 1,000 out, but I certainly look at 56 and say, hey, I could make some money on that.
Mhm.
So I have no problem lumping them all together like that.
It may very well be that they may be able to create a money market account, sub-accounts.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, banks do that. I don't know.
I understand they do,
Which would
I
make
could
your
talk
life-
to Broadview about that. that we
Make
could
your
keep-
life much easier, so you can keep your accounting straight, but you're earning interest on all of the accounts.
Yeah, I mean, I see your
Or
point.
effective.
I don't know how Cecilia would feel about it. I don't think it would impact her at all one way
I
or the
think
other.
No,
It doesn't impact me at all. And
That would-
I can transfer money in these things in, it takes no time at all. And I don't list the Zook account anymore. It's zero. I don't list it
Right.
anymore. Officially closed.
that would be a nice solution if it's possible, because it kind of, because if we do the other thing, then I think we need to have a separate breakdown of like, hey, don't forget, this is this much as this much as that, versus if there's a sub accounts, then it's done for us, and that
Well,
it's kind of the best of both worlds.
that being said, I mean, you can always earmark accounts within that and our own internal.
Sure, yeah.
And that way you'd have just one account that
Yeah.
we're transferring out of instead
Yeah.
of saying, okay, this one has to go here, this one here.
Yeah.
And not that that's at all cumbersome, but it's a matter
Creates
of.
some confusion sometimes.
Well,
like-
I totally agree. And maybe we could also look at the ain't broke, don't fix it. You could look at that too, but I would like to get some interest on that 56.
Right, yeah.
I think it's an excellent point.
All right, well, let's see.
I'll go meet with the Broadview people. I keep on going past their offices all the time. I went like 3 of them today. I need to just have the account with me. Because, I can walk in the door and say, well, I'm talking about Stephen's account. It's like, well, who are you? I really think that going forward, instead of going the CD route, which was not as profitable as the money market. Money market's an old.
Yeah.
So. Also, see your point, my only thought is they may not give us the same interest rate on that they do on the money market, because we grandfathered into that from what I can tell. Yeah, I mean, we were shocked when we found out it was almost 3%, the CD was like 3.1. We're like,
Yeah.
So, that was an eye opener, but 3 months ago when we looked at that.
Okay.
But if you look at the income, the interest income is enormous, $5,000.
That's pretty.
And that's, that's free money.
We need that, yeah.
We can use all the free money we can get.
So the one other thing in the finance area, Kim's talked about it briefly, but the fact that 2 checks were lost in the mail. We had the previous incident of the check being stolen out of the mailbox and used for fraud. At the town board meeting, we just heard about the town having problems with a couple checks. Same kind of thing, people dropping them in the mail at some point, the vendors not getting them. One of them was attempted to, well.
That's why she's bringing it up.
So,
Believe it or not.
Whoa.
It's not. Not unusual. I'm told that, it makes much sense.
yeah,
Because it's a routing to a routing, you would think it would be, cheaper for them. But
I've been
yeah,
experienced in
that would be the only problem I would have with that. But unfortunately, a lot of vendors still are on paper checks. I mean, certainly in your world, a lot of local businesses, et cetera. Now you can also, I don't know, I think Broadview probably does this. You can set up a pay account. You have the bank do it and they don't charge you. And sometimes they actually issue a paper check, believe it or not. Because I've seen that quite often with some of my other jobs. And the weirdest one is the cable company has to take a paper check. Makes no sense to me at all because they're the ones providing internet. But that's Coxsackie, which is a world you don't want to know about. It's down. You don't want to know that. Something in the water down there. Anyway, but I mean, literally, I think Broadview does provide that service. It's all done on the computer, and you print out, when they send it, and you get an email back saying when it has hit your account. So it's pretty seamless.
The only problem is the oversight on that. But, because if Broadview is just going and paying whatever it is,
Well,
that's automatic. Oh,
you get a receipt. I mean, you tell them, you say, okay, today I want you to cut a check. I do it with the church all the time. But once a month, I say, okay, cable company gets this, power company gets this, H&L gets this, and literally when they do it, you can print out a copy, and I'd keep it in the records of this date.
Of what they did,
Cecilia, for example, on this date, these checks were sent.
Right.
And even if it's a paper check you get on the computer when you order it, you get a receipt. So it's not like an automatic billing or anything.
well, we already have automatic billing.
On some things you would. There is a check and balance, if that's your concern, which is a legitimate concern.
and this, everything's tying together tonight, it's wonderful. But we really don't have like a financial policy that we probably should have, and that is one of the ones listed in the.
Yeah.
It probably would make sense once we tackle some of this in terms of what kinds of payments we allow, what the oversight is, what's the check and balance, what is it, and see.
Challenge and give the treasurer. I certainly shouldn't.
The control function of the.
Well, no, certainly having Cecilia and Kim, it's a great control function. Cecilia and Kim doing day to day, and I have to sign checks, on here.
Yep.
And that's a wonderful check and balance.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of already built into what we're doing. So that would certainly on a financial plan, whatever they call them.
Yeah.
That would certainly have to be included.
Right.
And it's a wonderful check and balance.
So if you, and I think the question is then and this happens now, I know it's lower payments, but when you're not signing the check, sort of, how's that third level?
Yeah,
being achieved?
in the event so-and-so is not available to sign the check.
Or no, just in other words, like there's no paper check, so you're not signing it, so you're not seeing
Well,
it, so.
it's the control. You need to
Right.
control.
Yes.
that.
Yeah,
So then
yeah.
two people sign the check, separation functions. But if everything's online, then you got to.
That would be the part.
That's what I thought you were getting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
how
what
we
we
do
have.
that. So let's have that on top of our mind as something we're gonna need to start to address. Because it is a shame, I mean, we're losing $20 to cancel checks that are lost somewhere out there
Right.
and, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
So I'm just wondering, are there, were they saying like, are they getting stolen from people's mailboxes or like how?
So we had an issue where they stole them from our mailbox. We actually had to do a police report and all that other fun stuff. And they take your check and they wipe it. They do the signature as best they can, and then they just keep the check. And then they spent, I think, 7,000 or 6,999 or something crazy like that, almost $7,000. Pretty sure it was 7, or was it 3? I don't remember. It was a lot.
One is they have.
Yeah, that was also right in our account, and then also as a wrote actually tried to make a physical check, and it did come out of our accounts, and they had to go through and do a thing. So the thing that the police told me is that never, ever, ever, ever put checks in your mailbox anymore, because that's the only thing people put in your mailboxes these days is you're sending out a bill. Like, so they see that red flag and they will come and take them and then go. So now all of our bills and checks go directly to, I just throw them in the post office box. So who knows now why they're getting lost.
Yeah, we don't know if they're stolen, they might just be lost.
I think that they probably are lost because nothing came up in the bank. I've been watching the statements. It hasn't, neither of them have been cashed, and there's now a stop payment on both of those 2 checks. So, and I paid the Ingram one online because they have an online thing, since we already approved that because we sent a check out. So, yeah, it's,
I'm all in favor of the most you can do online because it saves, postage, everything else. It's just,
yeah, even the cost of the checks and the cost of the envelopes.
they'll get there.
All right, we'll put that on our top of the list for.
Yeah, when do you want to have I mean,
Well, I
you
mean,
can do it while Santa's having his picture taken. I mean,
I won't be here,
well.
which is fine with me.
I think we feel secure at this point that we are getting increased funding. So going with
Well, I guess to be really prudent, we should just wait until it's absolutely final.
yeah, I mean, I think my recollection is it's in pretty good shape because we have the 2 versions. So we got the version with the funding, and I think we were in pretty good shape with that. So I think at this point,
It wouldn't
it's
be,
just-
it wouldn't be a long drawn out.
yeah, I mean, I think as long as if Kim, you take another look at it, make sure there was nothing, and Richard, you take another look at it, and then we should be able to approve it in the December meeting, I think. Yep. All right, anything else on treasurer's report and finance stuff? Okay, we move on to fundraising. So Sarah left a report for us. So obviously the big news was the unfortunate canceling of the taco trivia. Yeah. I did encounter 2 people like immediately, like I think it was like 5 minutes after we canceled. Somebody was like, "Oh, tell me about that taco trivia." Canceled. So there you go. She was I don't know if I had 1 or 2 people who were questioning about like, can I come by myself? I don't have a table, I have a group. It's something I can come by myself.
Right.
So I think as we evolve on how we handle these trivia nights, I think addressing that, because people seem confused, like, do I have a table? Do I do this? Can I do?
So we kind of keep changing it.
Yeah. So if we can make sure that's part of the, how we're talking about it.
We just not change it.
Whatever we do, it's going to involve tacos.
Simplify it and put more of the trivia.
Mhm.
$40, is a hit.
Mhm.
And, people are aired right now, and you know, that has been my thought, is that kind of, you know, if you shrink it a little bit, as much as the tacos sound fabulous. Or the sandwiches, people are more educated.
Mhm.
Because of that whole bunch of people that go to all these contests.
Right.
So that's just a thought, and you know, Mary Ann and I had already talked briefly about it.
I'm not sure how much the fact that it was sort of Halloween weekend, which
It was.
it seemed like there was a lot going on.
It was just the purpose.
Yeah.
All this stuff.
Yeah.
You know. And you're like shelling out $40. You know, that's, you know, that happens. And I think, as Mary Ann said, it was a good idea to pull the plug and gave everybody enough time. I know I had one person in New Lebanon who said she had, you know, acted up and threw, you know, screamed out an answer at one point, and she said, I wanted to make up for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very sweet.
Oh, yeah, no, I love her.
Yeah.
They're my old neighbors.
Yeah. She's very good. I mean, other than that, I know that Sarah, Mary Ann, and all that do a great job organizing. They'll take all that into consideration.
Aren't you?
Mhm.
They didn't do such a good job.
Oh, why don't you?
So-
Okay, why don't you fundraise? Really? We literally just had.
Well, I think that was actually a good thing because it helps people to see that, hey, we're trying, but people aren't showing. Yeah. No, it actually, in a way, that was a good thing for all of it. But yeah.
For the Halloween game.
Right.
Same exact.
Oh, yeah.
Was there a football?
Oh, there's always.
I don't know.
Yeah, there
Forgive
was.
me. But I didn't think that would be a deterrent for people.
Well,
Like,
depending on
playing
when they do the
versus
Bills
playing.
or whatever
So,
team is
yeah.
playing. If the Jets are playing, nobody
Yeah,
cares.
in fact,
could we wrap
kick off in 20 minutes.
Yeah. The Jets is-
Okay. So we cleaned up something. And I don't know if I was missing it, but I wasn't seeing it on like the UHLS live calendar.
Which should have been on there.
And like we had the affirmations request on front and center on the library website.
Mhm.
And we got a really great response with that. So I think doing something like that for the next Caribbean night.
It was on there, front and center. Yep. It was right there.
Again, I looked and I just wasn't seeing it, so I wasn't sure if it was just
it
my
in the
system that I
carousel?
was working on.
It was in the carousel and then I had it also in
As
the,
a
as a separate thing right there, but again, you know, yeah. Let me just, see. Let me see.
I was surprised. A lot of people have mentioned that they get their information from the signboard stuff, and which yeah, I mean, I find that surprising too. But yeah, but I think
Wait, this board?
the
Sandwich board?
not the sandwich board, the one that's permanently up there. You know,
Oh.
up by the side of
Yeah,
the which
Okay,
is
which one?
No, yeah.
The living board outside.
Um,
By the road. So people said, I've heard from multiple people who, around the 414 stuff, but, which is good, I guess, to know. So we might want to think about other options on that, because if people really are,
Yeah, but you put it ahead of like, I'm not saying we need to get one like that.
Other thing.
The one in the community center in New Lebanon is big,
yeah.
and they can list a few
They
things.
do a good job.
They do a really good job at it, because.
We were talking about it, and if we were to do two signs, so we have one sign here and one sign here, one sign can have the stuff that's coming up during the week, and then the other sign can have the stuff that's coming up in 2 weeks, and then all you have to do is take that one board and move it over and start up another board for the stuff that's coming up in 2 weeks. So we could potentially make it work. We don't really have the room for a huge sign like that, so.
Right.
Yeah, so I think thinking about some of those things and maybe like getting the chicken the grass signs, you know, what do we call those?
Oh, yeah.
Not to stick in the mud.
But like, I mean, people do notice those, and so if we have something that is worth, I'm not sure how much they cost, but you know, planning ahead, and maybe even if it's a trivia night that we just don't have to put the full details, and we can reuse, or we can think about it in a way that's a little bit smart. I think some, as much as people, you think like you're going to reach people online and you have their emails and you're going to reach them by email. We don't, like, people respond back and like, I didn't see anything about that. I'm like, we sent you 3 emails. Like, I'm not sure, you know.
I will say this.
Mhm.
Probably about 2,000. Incredibly successful. 5 or 6 ads, you know, consecutive days ahead of time, et cetera. And it's almost worth a while to look at it to see if you Times Union, perhaps, or the Detroit Record, you know, just to see, get an idea if in your publicity, or it might be something that could be offset. You might get a good feed for it because you would tap into a whole nother group with something like a trivia, and that's the market that we just really haven't really looked
reaching a
at.
wider audience.
And I know it can seem prohibitively expensive, but on the other hand, if you get a good response, and then, you know, when they say, oh, hey, there's a trivia night, and then when you get them here, you say, you know, let's get your email and we can get you on the distribution list for future ones. That kind of stuff.
Email, just so on October 14th, I sent out an email. 257 people opened it. And 18 people clicked on the links for it. And that was just a trivia night reminder. And then I sent it out again in, where is it, 10/27, so a couple days before. 224 people opened that one and 10 people clicked. So out of our, we have 580 people on our 38 to 40%. Yeah.
Which is
That's
pretty good, but it's still.
But it's still not doing it. It depends on the thing. Like the 414s, we've had a 47. Well, my newsletters, my November, like my monthly newsletters, that gets about a 47 to 50%. So, but like the 414, we got one of them, the affirmation one, we got 311 people opened that and 42 clicks on it, which was huge because that's not normal. But definitely can probably keep pushing those. I think we were pushing the 414 more so just looking at these than we were the fundraising or the trivia night, because for obvious reasons. But I think I erased, because when we canceled it on the month, the calendar, I just took it off the calendar altogether. So that's why I'm not seeing it on here, but because we canceled it.
You know, but you're getting 45% is a good goal. It's still 45%.
Does that Rensselaer, they do ads?
The Ren's Lens.
Yeah.
Yes. I think he does do those, but I can start putting out press releases, send him just like we did with the Eastwick. So that I have to start getting back into the swing of that. So we can do that as well.
I just had a question. I assume there is a reason, but I don't know what it is. What's the reason why we don't use the Steventown Fire Hall for the Some were the reason, but I just wasn't.
The short answer, we can, after the meeting, we can go into more detail, is that there was an issue with requiring us to get additional insurance because of serving off. It made it cost prohibitive to do so. That's
the short answer.
I had a feeling it was associated with that, but I just.
But we actually had additional insurance that was covered by S&S, and they wouldn't accept that.
Correct. Yeah.
We were,
Yeah.
We were more than covered.
yeah, from what we could tell. we covered, But the guy that is charged with what I recall. Judge?
Yeah, anyway, that's their policy. It's their
the short
policy.
answer. That's the short answer.
We did think that it would, I mean, it would be
It would have been
perfect, and it would be nice to have it in Steventown, for folks who, especially when it's getting dark and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but it was not a possibility.
When I went back and looked at the attendance numbers that we discussed that in the meeting before.
Yeah,
I saw that the highest one we had was right here.
right here. Yeah.
And so there was the disturbing trend where it got about half.
Yeah.
Successive attempt.
Yeah.
That could also be, just how many times we've done it, people are tired of.
Yeah.
The first one,
They know, they told me. Pothole, or whatever you call it. Marianne says it appears that we're good, but.
and the thing too, with having it across the street, which was great, but we had to rent tables and chairs, it wasn't cost effective for us in that sense.
And it was a
It's just
huge amount of
small.
work.
Needed a lot more.
Yeah, but yeah, ideally,
It's a very
have
good
it
point.
in town, absolutely.
We're just gonna have to do a construction project for a bigger. We need more money.
Right.
We got $14,000. We got $14,000. Let's go to the ballroom.
Bound for something bigger was like,
Go to the ballroom. Let's get it.
Well, because you're getting, no, dangerous.
So I understand that it doesn't make financial sense to cancel the tree night, but it's not free. There's a cost associated with canceling it, and it's a cost of confidence or trust. And so, I hope we don't have to cancel another one again, because that'll really bring potential ticket sales to. People are going to be like, well, they canceled twice in a row, or are they really going to hold it third time?
right.
So I just want to make sure we're aware that there is a cost with canceling a fundraiser.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Bingo, we really need to think it through too, or we do it again.
Yeah, good. Make sure that we know.
Bingo.
At least let take office in 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, is there any, what?
I don't know anything about it.
We haven't met and discussed any of this.
No.
So,
That'll be December.
Move on.
Okay.
and that was just written her ideas with question marks, looking for ideas,
Right,
so.
yeah. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that later. The 414, the very good news, I mean, the benefit of having a crisis is people do step up and respond, and so we received almost $4,000 in donations related to it, so.
Actually, it's really interesting. And
It's,
it's good.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
yeah, no,
That's what I was
yeah.
thinking too, I was like, well,
People made a connection that if you're not willing to fund it and you're interested in it, there are implications there.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of like puts out like, this is a valuable service, it's an important part of the town, and its financial stability is important. And that's a useful message. Hard way to learn it, but a useful. As I was living through it, I'm going, this will be interesting. Because it's sort of, I think that's for granted. And,
right,
this is sort of a reminder that, it costs money to operate.
Right, yeah, and people do value.
One of the mothers that takes advantage of the homeschool
Mhm.
group, I happened to work with her.
Oh.
And she was nothing but raving and
Oh, good. That's nice to hear.
Mhm.
Awesome. Yeah, the homeschool group has been very popular. It's been a great thing for, and honestly, I wish that when I was homeschooling, we had had that here because I would have come to the programs. It's just once a month and it's something that you have to have for New York State standards, but you don't want to do it on your own because it's just like, ugh, I do not need to go and teach my kids about bike safety.
Mhm.
Let's go do it as fun thing,
Yeah,
that kind of thing. Well, we taught them about bike safety, but still like,
It's not bus north, no.
yeah. So
Cat
it's
reading.
definitely, and we get a lot of kids. We didn't get anyone for this last one, but that was we were doing graduation. Yeah. So that's great to hear. That's awesome.
Two last things are annual appeals. So we delivered the materials to Bex as we talked about during, I think, our special meeting. We had planned, we had the two memos prepared for funding didn't happen or funding did happen. And when we had to deliver files, the funding didn't happen. And so we sent that version. And the change that we made was I put a date on it, so it would be clear when this was written. So now it looks like we are getting our funding. I thought we were probably too late to do anything about it at this point. However, just before the meeting, I got an email from the printer with sort of proofs. He's like, "Oh, it's been a while since you've seen these. Do you want to review them?" Which I thought was odd, but it makes me think that maybe there's an opportunity to change our mind.
I think it would be better to change it.
Yeah. So I'll go back to him and see if we can. It may be that there's two. It may be that the option is to just pull it, like not include anything. Like it's too late to put the other version in. If that is the case, is that better
Oh, yeah.
than
Sure.
nothing? I mean, better to have nothing in there than having something.
Yeah.
So there's no mention, in other words, there's no mention of the 414 at all, versus no, we didn't get our funding, because that's gonna look like.
Yeah.
I think it was so confusing.
Yeah.
Right.
It's, I would, I think honestly, lower in this case, just going.
Yeah.
Take it out. That would be fine.
So wait, the choices are to either take anything about 414 out or
I don't really know what our choices are,
But
but
it's
I
possible.
suspect that it's probably easier for them to just
Yeah.
pull something. We may have to pay for if I'm not clear if he's printed these yet or not. So I don't think they're printed, but I think they are set up or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, so I think they're set up, so he's showing me all that, so he may need to just pull it. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't like to look on his face right now.
Okay.
Learn up.
Okay. Okay. So now we're all gonna be in suspense. All right,
These are good points. I'm looking forward.
to be continued. Okay, all right, so moving on, transitioning into 414 committee report. I mean, I think.
20 minutes, boss.
So,
We've been running. Let's start. I'll start at the beginning.
don't start from the beginning. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
They have a football game to get to. I'm teasing you, Scott. Go ahead.
I think in thinking about, this was not your normal library crisis in the sense of you're doing a trans story time and the thought issues involved with that. But it involves the same kinds of issues in terms of you got an issue, how do you communicate the issue? How do you mobilize support? How do you manage it? I mean, all these things. And although we haven't really focused on that, I think this library did a good job. You know, there's designated someone to handle the communications. There's a lot of communication back and forth. We sort of developed a strategy, and it worked well. And I think we did really well. So that, in terms of managing this and figuring out what we needed to do, and we sort of executed very well for a library which never has had a problem like this before. So part of that is upper Hudson training. Part of that is you got lucky. And I mean, thinking all sorts of things, but on the whole, I mean, it could have gone better. We could have won by 90%. But, you know, you're sort of at a stage where, I mean, I think you guys did a really good job. You're doing awesome. It'll go, you know, we'll play it out and whatever. I mean, now it's just, they got to do their count, they got to do an official result. And I think the only issue we really have in connection with the 414 is communication as to what do we want to communicate going forward. We're sort of at a point where, what are you going to say at this point? What are you going to say, you know, after the official results come out? And what do you want your media message to be? The other thing, which is sort of interesting, which hasn't been picked up in the press, I happen to think this is a really interesting story. And I think it's an interesting story that has national implications. You may not want to go on that route, but I mean, if you think about what are the issues here, small library, funding proposition, it goes to a voter, you get sort of a peculiar vote. The library mobilizes in a grassroots way. The library community responds, provides affidavits. You get a denial of a recount, even though you've got sort of funky results. But the community pressure and the affidavits sort of create a situation, regardless of was this the causation of finding a problem? Was this something that would have been found out in a recanvass? I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
All I know is that when they ran it through the machines once,
Right.
it didn't seem likely that if you ran it through again and the stuff I understood that they do recanvassing on may not have picked this stuff up unless there was a discrepancy in the numbers. And in that regard, they came up with more votes than the first one, the machine totals. Machine totals initially were 527 plus 60, 57 or whatever.
A little bit over.
And the current totals are
800.
different.
There are a lot of undervotes, right? I mean, that comes
So
that was.
it may have been picked up in the ordinary course, but they didn't do the recanvassing. I think that was later on in the process.
Yeah.
So it may have been discovered in the ordinary course, but what it looks like, at least to me, what I know, it looks like the presentation of the affidavits set off a cascade of further actions by the Board of Elections, which got them to where they are now. I think that's a good story. I don't think it's a story that any of the reporters really picked up. Their stories were regurgitating what anyone told them in not a particularly thoughtful or interesting way. And I think if the board wanted to package it a little bit differently, it could get different coverage. But I don't know.
No, I agree totally that it was handled by Jennifer and everybody else handled it extremely well. And thought really went as well as could be expected. The fun part you think about is what are the ramifications for the BOE? I mean, you know, it's just terrifying when you think about it, that they rely upon these machines, they have to. And now you have a major glitch. I mean, not just a little, I mean, 300 more votes, totally different results. cetera. And now they have to go back and look at all their machines, everything else. It's just, you know, the
It's not
story,
huge.
the story has legs.
huge.
I mean, the story,
It should be a
It's scary.
national.
It should be now.
I mean, it has legs, and somebody sooner or later, New York or someone like that, will do a deep dive.
I
And
mean,
because,
just like small little town of how many people are here, their library, because of this discrepancy, like, this is like,
well, I mean, you know, you're
It's
sitting
such a
It might
in,
actually
sitting in Rensselaer County here going, my God, what, you know,
We go
this
to
is a
have
disaster.
Steve Hartman.
Because, you know,
CBS works for
question,
CBS.
it's kind of, that has been a little
Andrea.
bit of the coverage that I read in the record today, it's just Troy record, was it was like, you know,
Yes,
this,
I
you know, they
I
are
haven't watched
really
it yet, but
looking
I
at
was,
how to, you know, address and solve this problem.
I'm wondering if.
I agree with you.
It's the kind of thing
There
that
is
you
a
might
different
do
way
in
it could
terms
be
of like the
fun,
feel
but
good
not-
stuff,
not-
but then also what does that?
Well,
mean
but
for
I
the
mean,
rest
they're
of
not stressing or emphasizing the local
There-
support. The
there-
local
there-
support is what
there-
got it done, I mean, let's be honest.
It is.
No, no.
Yeah, but
You see every day. Just as a, like,
But it doesn't necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure.
But that's somebody else's issue, that's not our issue. Let them play.
So two things, so when I went to, yeah, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday for the recount. You know, Henry was very gracious and explained what was going on. I didn't entirely understand every nuance of what he said in terms of what happened. I think one thing he said that sounds like it was repeated in one of the stories is it sounds like there was some functionality related to pre-testing the ballots that they were not necessarily aware of with the new machines. That sounds like would have caught this problem. So I don't understand what the other pre-testing is that they do and why that didn't catch this. But it sounded like there was an option for them to what he called adjudicate the ballots by, I think, understanding what the problem was and essentially like correcting that. And then I think that's why we have the numbers that were shared was because they were done through a machine count by sort of fixed. I'm not
fixing.
Don't take this as this is just my interpretation of what he said, and but they decided to still do a manual recount of everything just because of the question that could be put forward on everything. So I think they have gone to the extreme to make sure at this point now that things are being done that way.
It's probably only in connection with making sure that all of the other races weren't affected.
Yeah.
But the information and indeed both the representations of the Board of Ed, Board of Elections to the newspapers, as well as in their denial of a recount, was basically, and similarly in their communication, in Henry's communication with me, all of which I think are where he's coming from. I'm not claiming or even suggesting that, I mean, it's accurate. What he said was that the board tested the machines or examined the machines prior to deployment. The board tested the machines by running ballots through them when they were deployed. And based upon those controls, the board's response to our request for a recount was, you have no proof, and we've taken controls. And now the discussion is, that didn't pick it up, because our response was, and yet there are lots of voters saying this is wrong. Their response is, we got this now, we figured out what the problem was. That really doesn't address the fundamental problem of there are possibilities of machine errors and what controls do you need to establish, and how do you handle situations when the candidates or the proposition people say, you got a problem here. How do you look at it? The Board of Elections doesn't have any procedures in connection with this.
Mhm.
They rely upon, understandably, the statutes which provide for mandatory recounts in certain situations. But there's this lack of structure or policy and procedure how to handle our particular problem.
Right, yeah,
And that's just sort of the way I see it.
yeah. So, it sounds like there's two things we need to discuss and decide upon in terms of next step, as relates to communication. So Henry provided those numbers to me. He said they do not, I think he said that at the state level, they didn't want them just feeding out individual race numbers. That then everybody will be looking for their numbers, and they have until whatever it is, 2 weeks after beginning of December or whatever, to complete all of this. And so they want to do it as a package, all of the results. It's hard for us at this point to kind of operate that way. On the other hand, I'm not sure that there's any reason, because I was like, well, I should call him today and just clarify. He told me he was going to tell me the numbers. But is there really any reason at this point to push in that regard? So that we can communicate to everyone, our supporters and everyone who's asking and everybody online who's been part of this to understand, okay, here's what happened. The recount happened. Here's the results. So that's one question. Do we, how and when do we communicate that? What we're planning to communicate. And then it sounds like there's a second question that Scott's bringing up, which is there a reason, or do we want to try to spread the story to a larger audience with the bigger, sort of the bigger story of this? Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's right. There are separate, distinct issues involved there. I mean, I don't know what your discussions with the Board of Elections are. They want to manage this in a certain way. I don't know what undertakings you provided in connection with receiving information. It's sort of whatever information was provided is to say, I don't know what happened.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, we got what we asked for. Got a manual
Recount. Yep.
And I think at this point, until they do what the Board of Election has to do, just leave it alone for the time being. We were successful in getting what we asked for.
Yeah.
I mean, that's as far as we wanted to go. We didn't say anything else. We said we just are asking for a manual recount, and that has been provided. So,
And they'll certify.
yeah, I mean, they'll do it as they need to do by statute. So I think any sort of pushing is totally counterproductive at this point. I mean,
That's how I kind of ended up feeling today. I sort of wanted to be able to communicate, but then I said, well, wait a minute. At the end of the day, is there really any reason?
And whatever the Board of Elections has to do going forward with their checks and balances or testing, et cetera, that's their job, And certainly we're not in any position to say, that's not our job.
I think it's just hard for the staff, especially because people are asking every
I
day.
understand.
Right.
Do we know? And we all obviously know what the results were. So to be,
I think we can just say we're waiting, we know
waiting.
that they did the recount, we're waiting for the
official results. Well,
official
that's what
results to
that's
be
what I had said to everybody. So, but yeah. For Wesley County, yeah.
Yes,
Which doesn't
the
make
entire,
connection with what we communicate. I mean, we communicate what we feel comfortable communicating. So you can break it out and talk about there's a recount and you can tell the same story and the outcome is whatever the outcome is.
Yeah.
Sort of like we notified folks of a problem. Happily, we believe that we helped in getting them to a recount, and there will be results.
More will be revealed,
When they do their official count and they're ready to release results, they'll release results.
Patience is in very short supply.
But the point is that the story at this point is simply we saw a problem, we shared it. by virtue of the community's support of the library and their embracing of their civic duty to take their time and provide affirmations, they were able to provide the information which led where we are now, which puts everyone in a better place. More reliable election system and an accurate count. And that's a story we can tell now.
So is your suggestion that we revise the press release? We'll do a press release now that is simply about,
Yeah.
we're glad about that, not saying nothing about results, and then we'll have another one when the results are out.
That was
That's really what we wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
We were
Yeah.
prepared to still not get this.
Mhm. Absolutely.
I think that's a good messaging, at least at the beginning for now, and it's only a couple weeks.
And because
Right.
people are interested in what's going on and
Yeah.
there's sort of this gap. It just-
Said patience is not well known virtually. On instant gratification. I did this, where's my result?
Mhm.
Bureaucrats and it takes time.
Anything else we want, so the second question of this larger story, is there something that you want to pursue with that, Scott? It sounds like Kim and,
I
already have somebody that might be a.
well, I mean,
At the immediate moment, I just let it alone.
you know, that's, I mean, because quite frankly, in that regard, I think if someone simply provided the correspondence and the newspaper stories,
Mhm.
probably more sophisticated media entities will connect the dots on that.
Yeah.
It's just.
But what of the what correspondence is like,
All of it's public. I mean,
except the ones that said confidential and.
there was no confidential.
That was just our email, yeah, but anything that's on the
No,
website.
I'm saying we
Yeah.
provided, we made,
Yeah.
wrote letters to the Board of Elections.
All of that.
They were voted.
Yeah.
That all tells the story.
Press release is gonna stress the appreciation of the communities. That's
And the Board of
number one.
Elections,
Yeah,
they're doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
And they're
it was
taking it
amazing-
seriously.
It was amazingly brilliant, how many people saved up their time.
Yeah.
And supported the library, you know, with their feet, as they say, you know, they did something. And that is incredibly reassuring.
It's really a story,
Yeah, it is, it's great.
because ultimately, it shows the community supporting the institution.
Yeah.
It shows the Board of Elections doing their job. They're showing that community involvement got government to do, or at least assisted government in doing what it's supposed to do. Those are all really, really good things. And
That's why I think
in
the
these
person we're talking
times,
about is, so we know someone who does those kinds of stories, where it's like the community, the good stories about the world. And yeah, but he's also just he's nationally known. If we wanted to, we could definitely it's over. And I don't
Well, and he says,
I don't
we can.
know. I know I am personally interested in seeing the story on a national level because I feel like this could have happened anywhere. This could have happened in any.
Happening.
Yeah. And if people.
And that's why I want to see it
Yeah.
nationally, because who knows where else this could be happening, because the trust we as a nation more and more putting in machines like this to accurately tally our votes. And on a personal level, I have a lot of questions about why this happened.
Yeah,
You know,
this is-
on the one hand, just saying controls are in place and this would have been found no matter what, but initially the response was controls were in place, and so you should. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing wrong.
We don't do.
over the course of time, the machines have been very accurate.
Yeah.
But this is an example of.
No, it can go wrong. It can.
Stuff can go wrong,
Right.
which are things that were picked up in like the current release we're playing. Sort of like, you don't make mistakes, it means make mistakes.
Right, yeah.
And, you know, sort of like it was the community which got together and said that seems screwy.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you. I think it is important that we take this further, not today, but eventually.
Down the road, yes.
Because the other piece is too, like, if the original results weren't so skewed, we wouldn't have done anything.
Yeah,
And none
It
of
was
it
like
would have been.
50-40.
Right, yeah.
and that's why the
And
why
that's so important.
is so important.
Yeah.
It's so important.
And the lever there, I mean, when I saw the results, I sort of said, keep on saying.
I started counting friends and I'm like,
Well,
wait a minute.
Yeah.
and I first was way off. It
Right.
would be.
Exactly.
It would have been closer. And
I think so.
I'm so glad you were so confident in it, because I was not. I was like, how is it that the community doesn't like us as much?
I'll let it in
This is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I voted for it, my partner voted for it, my family voted for it, my family's family voted for it.
My dead grandfather voted for it.
It didn't match the experience of people.
Right.
And when I was, first saw the numbers, I'm going like, this looks screwy, the numbers are probably wrong, but whether it will change anything, I don't know. But when you saw the response of the community, it certainly flipped me in this terms of, it really doesn't make a difference. This is a worthwhile exercise, and we'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
And we saw it.
Yeah. No, it was also just good to see the community coming out to help and support, and it helped those of us who are on the front desk there and seeing everybody coming in and saying, hey, we support you guys, so
within
that was
4
huge.
days,
Yeah.
we had 30% of the electorate's affirmations.
Yeah.
That's a crazy number.
Yes, it is. I didn't even think of it that way. 30%.
I mean, they
4 days.
reported like 580 or 600 votes, and we had like 250
Yeah, so a lot.
or so
Yeah.
affirmations.
Yeah.
Well, that's like a crazy number.
One other, I'm sorry. all right.
No. I'm just breathing.
He's union.
Related to both topics of fundraising. We saw their desire for fundraising. Carly Neat, who made the excellent cupcakes, so keep that in mind as I say the next part, wants to do a fundraiser, Valentine's Day, chocolate covered strawberry.
Wait to
bouquet.
see these
Yeah.
pictures of what she can do.
And she wants to just donate the entire thing so that we get all of the proceeds. I think it's too much. It really is, but
She's being incredibly generous, but things like this and that
Oh, wow.
and
How did she?
that.
I have no
Well,
idea.
that's the question.
So if maybe we want to put that on the
Oh, yeah,
list of
sure, that-
fundraising activities here as a. There's two nice little strawberry, but yeah.
So we could
No.
definitely make it so that we could have orders or pre-made orders
Yeah.
and things like that. So might end up having to name a room after her at some point. All the things that she's doing.
I'm gonna have to name my closet after her because I need more clothes.
You know what? There's like 3 cupcakes left in the fridge, and I forgot we should put them. Amazing.
So it's gonna be- I took, what, 40 minutes? We went through our agenda in way less time than we normally do. I mean, it was just like 45 minutes, which was unusual. And then I spent like a long time talking about it. I'm going, I can shut up now. No, this is really interesting. And like, wow, that's cool. They were very easy.
Well, I'm sure Upper Hudson was very relieved. I mean, our numbers would have really ruined their.
Oh, yes, I know. No, yeah, Chris and I were supposed to talk today about everything and just kind of catch up but Tim having retired in June is kind of like, geez, did you really have to do that? We could have. But, yeah.
All right, we're gonna just tackle a couple new business things that are just more for future agendas. And is there any other old business anybody has? And then we'll go into the executive session. So we talked about one thing that's going to be coming up in 2026, which is policies, and that is something that we should be, as trustees, I did attend the trustee handbook book club session last week, and it was good. They do a very good job with all these training things, but it was a good reminder of some of the things that we should be focused on versus some of the things we prefer to be focused on. Sometimes we like to be more hands-on and more involved in some of that stuff, but really it's things like policy and financial oversight and the bigger planning that is really what our responsibility is. So it was a good reminder of that. I don't know, I just did that. Oh yeah, policies. So policies is one of those things that we are supposed to be doing better on. But next year, I think the other thing is, especially now that we're going to know what our funding is, and I think we need to pick back up on the more detailed parts of the master plan. So we have the master plan, we've tackled some of the stuff, we know, we replaced the HVAC, we know some of that stuff, but we have other building things that are coming up. So if the roof is either going to be part of this grant or it's going to be something we have to look at. The old section entrance has a lot of rot going on. These things.
The rails are.
Yeah, so that's going to have to be addressed. There's a lot of paint peeling right now. Kim was noticing, I've been noticing. So we have some serious planning that we're going to have to do with building related stuff. There's also some other things like Cheryl's mentioning the refrigerator. Steel isn't very good. And if we're going to continue with summer food program, maybe we need to think about how we do that in a way that maybe we have more refrigerator space or something. So I think some, building maintenance planning stuff is going to be a priority for the beginning of the year. So that is just more to put this out there that we need to start talking about. And the other new thing I wanted to raise and see if people thought this was a good idea, and you too, Kim, as a staff. I thought it might be nice. We should have done this anyway, but with all this drama lately, it really brought it to top of my mind. That would be nice to have sort of like a library family dinner at some point, staff and board. I know a lot of with new people and stuff, not everybody knows one another. It gives us a chance to get to know each other better and just have a chance to,
That's great.
Sort of celebrate. So
That's a nice
I know it's right the busy time of year right now, so I don't know what would be a good time to sort of plan this. It could be here and we just bring food in, something like that. So thoughts on that? Do you think the staff would want that?
I heard your comment.
Yeah.
Probably big enough. I'll speak to Janet before.
Good idea. I don't know if it's too hard to plan during this holiday season or if we should do it like in January. I would think January. Okay.
Yeah. No, I think if we have it in January when things are well, everyone's settled, I think that will be, and I think that would be a lovely idea.
Okay, all right, so we'll start working on that. You're crazy in January?
My brother-in-law is going to knee replacement.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. So you'll need a party. There you go.
Yes.
Well, I mean, our house is.
Yeah. Hands on, yeah.
We get hired, so we're gonna
Yeah.
listens more. Sounds me, but it's gonna be a challenge. Plus, we have implants going on in the middle of all this and whatnot, so it's, we're doing a Frankenstein deal. We're having a really. And, sooner or later,
Why don't we just use the fire halls available? All right, well, we'll start throwing.
No,
out
I mean,
dates
it's-
and stuff like that. All right. Correspondence, I already talked about the email from the Troy Savings Bank, Red Cross thing. Anything else? Okay. No, it's no public, so we'll go ahead and now so I know we have to make a motion to go into executive session and then we have to make a motion to go out of it. Can we stop the record? Like, we have to stop the recording. Do we have to restart the recording or can Kim just leave?
But
The meeting.
if we adjourn and then go to executive session, you can stop them.
Doesn't have-
Yeah. Long day, Scott.
It's 63 bills.
It's how much, what is it?
63.
Let me get the $10 out now. It's still free.
Executive session needs to be, and you go into executive session because the meeting continues. So while you stop the recording, you need to come back into session and then close out the meeting.
I'll make a motion to go into executive decision.
Okay, so
Executive.
we'll call you back.
I'm going to do it. Oh, wait, but I'm gonna leave this here.
So we made a motion, okay, and then,
Yes.
okay. All right, so I need a motion to come out of executive session.
I would make a motion to come out.
And a second.
And do something.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Okay, all right, and now we're out of executive session and.
Make a motion to join the meeting.
All right, and a second? I bet Ari wants to second.
I can't.
And Lee wants to totally do it. All right, everybody, so all in favor? All right, go enjoy your football games.